The topic of immigration policy has really heated up in the last few years, but we also know that it is having an impact on the labor force. In fact, a new paper looks at how it is impacting companies. The paper, partly by Wharton professors Britta Glennon and Exequiel Hernandez, suggests that it is leading to a higher level of M&A activity, using the corporate deal making as a way to mitigate maybe not being able to fill some of the labor gaps. Ezekiel Hernandez joins us right now. He is a professor of management here at the Wharton School. Ezekiel, great to talk to you again. How are you?
Good, Dan. How are you? Thanks for having me on.
I'm doing well. All right. So I guess let's start. What was it that piqued your interest in looking at this connection between what we're seeing going on around immigration policy and how companies are having to react to it?
Yeah, I mean, nothing could be more current, right? With everything that's in the headlines and all the politics around immigration. And I think we can all agree we're in an environment where there's a move to restrict the arrival of foreign-born talent to the United States and many other countries. We wanted to know how companies react. What are they going to do in the face of those shortages? That was really the motivation, is just to understand that this is not just an issue that affects the economy as a whole, but it affects companies very specifically.
So take us through the dynamics of what it is that companies are doing and why they see the move to go the M&A route to be able to clear up some of these issues around being able to have some very important labor components, people that would probably be coming in through the H-1B visa program.
Yeah. So that's important. This paper is specifically using data from the H-1B program. And also, I should emphasize that the data we looked at is from before sort of the current presidential administration, right? The unique feature of the H-1B program, of course, is that there's a limit on how many visas are available to firms. That's 85,000 per year. And because firms demand a lot more than that number, these visas are allocated through a lottery. And so that gives us a unique opportunity to see what happens when firms either miss out on the lottery or, several years ago when the number of visas available went down significantly, how did the firms most affected by that react? And what we found, as you noted, is that there really is a scarcity of talent and of skilled talent in this case in particular. That is, firms make more acquisitions when they miss out on that talent. Now, this is a really notable finding for a lot of reasons. There's a lot of things that firms could do. One of them could be do nothing, right? Just wait it out. Another one could be, if you really believe that there's enough US born talent or other talent already in the labor market, you might think, well, then firms don't have to find a workaround to this. And so, what our results are saying is that there really is a shortage. That is, firms are not crying wolf, and they're using acquisitions as a way to either get the talent that they wanted from a firm that already has it, or get the result of what that talent was going to do, say, build a certain technology or product.
And so it makes it that much easier, at least with some of the dynamics in play right now, to kind of work around the concept of the H-1B visa program, the numbers, as you alluded to, and just go ahead and buy the company that already maybe has that talent.
Yeah, I mean, if you can't hire, you buy, right? Now, of course, I think it's very important to say that this is second best, right? This is not what firms wanted to do as their first option. They wanted to hire a set limited number of people, incorporate them into their current teams, and maintain the workflow that they already had. So, it's very possible that firms might have chosen to do nothing because it's very disruptive to go out, buy a firm, go through the process of post-merger integration, which just again highlights how very important this talent is for firms, that they're willing to take on all the risks entailed in a merger or acquisition.
There are quite a few dynamics that you and your cohorts look at. One that I wanted to bring up was the dynamic of the size of the company in terms of the acquisition, small versus large, and how that plays into maybe the decision to make that purchase, to make that M&A move.
Yeah, I mean, this is an important finding, right? Obviously, these acquisitions, if they're really a response to talent shortage or missing out on hiring, anywhere from a handful to maybe several dozen, maybe at most, if you're a big firm, a few hundred workers, these acquisitions have to be commensurate in size, right? You know, like a talent shortage is not going to apply is not going to explain Disney buying Fox, right? That has a totally different
Right.
strategic purpose. And so being sort of like an acqui-hire or a workaround to talent shortages, yeah, we tend to find that these deals tend to be small, right? Somewhere in the 5 to 10 up to maybe 20 million range. After that, we're not seeing the effect. So, that again is consistent with a talent substitution mechanism as opposed to another motivation for the deal.
But the importance of having these employees, especially to a company's bottom line, we are learning is becoming that much more important to have that value. And in many cases, to be able to either expand, current success that a firm has already had, or maybe even expand new pipelines that they're looking to add in the years ahead.
Yeah, I mean, look, we know a lot of things from other studies done by other scholars on the importance of these H-1B workers. And I know this is a very political subject in terms of the visa program specifically, but the H-1B program is the main vehicle or one of the main vehicles by which US companies can hire skilled people with bachelor's degrees or higher. We know, for example, that immigrants in the United States are responsible for over a third of all patents, and many of those immigrants enter through programs like the H-1B. We also know that startups, right, that miss out on hiring H-1B workers, they're less innovative. They're less likely to grow, to end up with an IPO or to have a successful exit. That means they're not creating as many jobs. And so these are really important outcomes for firms. And the good news is that it's not a zero sum game between like hiring these workers on H-1Bs versus hiring native workers. Is that the unique skills these workers bring enable firms to do other things that actually create jobs for other workers, right? They have a multiplier effect. So, the fact that we're seeing this acquisition effect, again, I emphasize, is a really strong indicator of how critical these workers are.
What do you think then from this research are the most important takeaways?
I think the takeaway is firms are not crying wolf when they say they need these workers, right? They really do. And not being able to get them makes US based firms less competitive, right? Now, we can't prove this in the paper, but it would be interesting to ask as a follow up to what we're doing, is this causing consolidation in the market? Right? Is that consolidation affecting innovation? Is it affecting the ability to create other jobs? Is it affecting the ability of firms to create products that customers need, right? Those are all implications that we need to talk about in a very serious way if we're going to get immigration policy right and keep firms competitive.
But seemingly, this is an area that, because of the importance of the topic right now, is going to be probably something that's going to be on your mind and your colleagues' mind to see how this continues to develop down the road in the years ahead.
Yeah, I mean, we have other research ongoing looking at other outcomes, right? For example, the ability of firms to create products for markets, right, that are relevant for those markets, and lots of other research, and it's only getting stronger. Remember, the research we did was based on immigration restrictions that are much weaker than what we're seeing right now. For example, the $100,000 tax on every H-1B worker is a much stronger restriction than what we study. So it's presumably going to have an even stronger effect than what we found in our research.
Ezekiel, great to talk to you again. Thanks very much for your time. All the best.
Thank you.
Ezekiel Hernandez, who's a management professor here at the Wharton School.